Welcome back into the
Oh my God.
Take it from the top. Starting recording in 3.
Welcome back to Half a Clue movie review. Why is everyone laughing at me?
I don't know, man.
You're the one who was laughing.
You laughed. That was you.
I don't know. I just my intro game has been off, but I will be making a return soon.
You're good, bro.
You gotta do those vocal exercises.
Got to do those vocal exercises. I just gotta
Just
gotta be funny again. I don't know. I've lost my funny skills.
Well,
Funny.
hey, at
I'm
least
hilarious.
from this point on, we'll be returning to our normally scheduled programming.
Is that true, Ron? Actually,
that's not true. I'm actually
it's
not
not
going to
true?
be here
Oh.
next week. But
Dang.
Are you taking one more week off?
Yeah, I think
okay.
maybe one more
That's fine.
in between.
just
Yeah.
cancel your vacation. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
You know?
Yes.
Where do your commitments lie? You know.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Disney World.
Why are you doxing him? People are gonna go try and
What
find
hotel?
him now.
What
room
room number?
Yeah, no, I'm going to Disney World. I'm excited. I'm
Can I
going
give
with my
everyone your
family.
license plate number?
No, license plate. What
It's
license?
93COC
What is that? Is that a
93
real-
cock lover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad you have that
Yeah.
embedded in your brain. Just have that on tap.
Well, I memorized it off the back of your car, so of course
Can I
wrote it,
send
yeah.
the viewers your itinerary?
Yeah, of course.
It'll be on our Instagram story.
We're
Go
gonna
say
go
hi to Ron.
From ride to ride, we're gonna go on.
He likes it when people slap his triceps. So
Yeah,
make sure
I'm
to
a
go
big
do
fan.
that.
That's one of my favorite activities. It's because Blake said so. So
It's
Gotcha.
true. It's true.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know it.
oh no, we're getting too deep in our real relationship.
They know. All right, what are we watching, Miles?
This week we watched 8th Grade.
Why'd
which
you pick that movie, Miles?
I picked it because I think it is a great coming of age movie,
As do
and it really hit close to home a lot of the time. Just growing up as a little girl, going through the struggles of going through 8th grade. It just it really resonated with me.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
it's a good movie.
It's a great movie. Honestly, this is the movie that made me respect Bo Burnham as an artist. Absolutely hated the guy before this. Still not a big fan of his comedy, but I have respect for him because of this movie.
Have you watched Inside?
Inside? No. What is that?
It's his it's a special he made during COVID. He filmed it in like one room. He filmed it, produced it, wrote it, edited it. Everything was all him. It's very good.
is it like on Netflix?
Yeah.
I never watched it, but no.
Oh, you haven't seen it either?
No.
Have you seen it, Blake? No, you haven't.
No, you've been trying to get me to watch it for years. Though.
Maybe I'll give it a chance.
I kind of
It's
wanted.
really good.
I kind of wanted to watch it during COVID, but during that time period, I don't know. Even though I don't know if it was even like about the pandemic or anything specifically, but I was kind of just so like adverse to like anything that was really reminding me, I guess, of what was happening. I was like, I just want to. I don't know. I'm watching fucking like a bunch of horror films or something.
I
Just
mean,
dissociate
it
and
is
chill.
pretty fucking like
Exactly.
existentially like dreadful.
Oh, good.
But it's very good. If you're interested in something else to watch from him, that would be
Maybe.
it.
I might.
I've heard it's
I'll give it
very
a
good.
thought.
I think I live under like a pop culture rock because I really don't know that much about Bo Burnham. I know he's like a comedian. I know he does like songs. That's like a big
Yeah.
thing, right?
I-
But I've never watched a special. I've never heard a song. I watched this movie and it came out in theaters, and this is my entire exposure to Bo Burnham is this movie, and I really like it. So
I think
I
I was
should probably check out his other stuff.
I think I was first introduced to him like through his YouTube, like comedy stuff, where he was just like playing his music and joking around. And then I remember watching his special on like Comedy Central like presents. He was like part of this like wave that came out, and then like I thought he was funny. I liked him. I wasn't like a huge fan, but I was like I like this dude. I want to see what more comedy he does, and then he drops this, and then I didn't watch it either. But I watched it now for the first time, and I liked it.
Yeah,
I found history. Go ahead.
I found out about Bo Burnham through a literal psychopath. He was like on mood adjusters and everything. I found that out later.
Oh, okay.
Like, seemed like an all right guy at first, but
Wouldn't stop talking about Bo Burnham.
yeah, no, he was obsessed. He was obsessed, and just that energy right there. I think
Bo
it put
Burnham
a
syndrome.
yeah.
He's just like Bo.
Okay. Ron, give us the history. Tell me, things.
8th grade.
Educate me.
marks Bo Burnham's feature dictatorial debut.
Dictatorial?
Dictatorial. This
Whoa.
was, he's a serious dictator. Sorry.
where it all started.
Filming on a dictaphone.
Yeah. Blending his sharp comedic sensibility with a poignant, authentic portrayal of adolescence in the digital age. Inspired by his own experiences growing up and pressures of social media, Burnham wrote and directed the film, casting Elsie Fisher in the lead role as Kayla, a socially awkward 8th grader navigating the final week of middle school. Produced by 24, the film explores themes of self-esteem, social media, and personal identity. Not going to lie, there's not much history. This is a fairly recent one, and there's I tried digging a bit, but there's not many behind the scenes things either. But
Ron,
you
you're
know.
fired.
No.
Get the fuck out of here.
This is a slept on film, I think.
It is.
Quite honestly,
Well, it was pretty acclaimed the year it came out.
Yeah, I think he won the He won the the Writers Guild Award for original screenplay.
And
or
not
something.
that it means that much, but I was taking a film class when this came out. And I remember we were talking about our favorite movies of the year, and this was half of the classes. So
I think this is also very prime A24.
Yeah.
When, if you where a lot of people were really into A24 movies because it was just this new studio that was producing, indie stuff, which was
very
cool.
high quality indie stuff and
Yeah.
very different from what was being produced elsewhere.
And I think it's
yeah.
a great example of their broader works, especially early on.
Yeah, this is before they leaned heavy into horror. I mean, they
That's
were
not
always
true.
kind of
That's
into
not
horror,
true.
but
Hereditary had already came out. The Witch had already came out. You're wrong.
Okay.
okay.
He's dead. Okay. Initial impressions for everybody. Well, Blake, you'd seen this movie before, right?
I saw it when it came out, yeah.
Yeah. So thoughts?
I still really like it. I think it's a great movie. It's very funny, and it's sadly, I feel like it's kind of a lost art to use the camera to be funny, right? And there's a lot of visual humor in this. I'm thinking of, and they use the music a lot to emphasize what's so funny. When she's getting to the pool party and it's shot like a war scene practically.
Yeah.
It's the kids are filmed like they're otherworldly beings.
Yeah.
They're just fucking aliens, dude. It's so funny.
Or the famous shot where the camera pans out to the banana. There's just a lot of visual humor going on, and I've always really appreciated that about this movie. This is my second time watching it, first time since it was in theaters, and I still really like it. It's very funny. It's also surprisingly very tense. I'm actually surprised that Miles likes it because, as me and Jason have pointed out, he doesn't like cringe humor typically.
I don't like forced cringe humor, right? This, it felt believable. There's a lot of cringe humor, and it's oh, why are you doing that? You're so stupid. But this, you really feel the emotions of all the characters, especially Elsie Fisher's character. She does. I want to compliment her. She does
a great
an
job.
amazing performance of really showing the anxiety that she is feeling inside,
I will
right?
say, yeah,
as
it
this
is-
character.
It's incredibly relatable. Right?
Yes.
And a lot of those cringiness is I feel pretty much everybody was there at some point.
yeah.
It's yeah.
It's the experience. Anybody, I feel, can really put themselves into the shoes of her character at one time or another in their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason, have you seen this before?
Yeah, I had. I don't remember where I saw it. I don't think I saw it in theaters, but yeah, I've seen it once before. I really enjoyed it then, and I really enjoyed it this time around. Again, yeah, it's you just feel this movie it's just tense. It's a tense movie,
Yeah.
and it's not about anything super tense from an outside perspective, but everything from as you mentioned yesterday, the sound design to the music, everything's just amplifying every emotion that she's feeling, and
That
it's
music, bro.
Yeah.
Dude,
Well,
it-
and even the sound design, I just want to bring
Yeah,
this
go
up
ahead.
real quick. In moments where she starts to get more tense and more anxious, the music starts to kind of raise higher in volume. You start to hear more people's voices. The scene becomes more overwhelming. There's a cacophony just going on in the background.
Kind of like Punch Drunk Love.
And then something will break that, and it cuts to just silence all of a sudden. Oftentimes it's her checking out the dude that she likes.
No, they give him that like that. Like,
Yeah.
that's one of the best jokes of the movie. Is it'll like
Yeah.
cut to him and he's just like sitting there doing something stupid. Like,
Yeah.
playing, like the Great
He has
performance
the
from him,
gum up
too.
his nose and everything. Yeah,
didn't-
mini Barry Keoghan.
Yeah.
I was
he
like,
does kind of look like Barry
when he first
Keoghan.
showed up, I was like, is that a young Barry Keoghan? But no, it's not. It's just he kind of has that face, whatever.
Barry Keoghan,
Yeah.
Keoghan, whatever.
Keoghan? I don't know. Sorry, Barry.
Email us,
Yeah,
Barry.
please write us.
Just write us a voice.
I'll see you at
memo.
dinner tonight. It's fine.
But yeah, no, I kind of want to get into like the personal connections of this movie because I feel like that's its like strongest point. Like for me, and I mean, I think that's everybody. That's really the point. Is like it resonates so well. Like I remember being very awkward, and like it's funny enough for me. I think 8th grade was probably one of the most awkward times in my life. But I also remember in the moment actually feeling pretty good because I had a clique of friends. We were about to leave middle school. I felt like established enough that I was like, yeah, man, I don't care. Like, this is all good. But if anything, I resonate more with like this feeling was when I went to I was a freshman in high school where it was like the rug was pulled out from under me. All my friends that I had in middle school pretty much went away. Either they went to different schools or they just joined completely different like groups or cliques, except for my best friend. Shout out to Ricardo. We stuck together. That was great. Thank you so much. But it was like, but again, feeling so awkward and like alone and just being like, I don't know where to go. Like we had a place where we used to go and sit and hang out. Now, I don't know. Every corner of the school is filled already. Like, you know, you just have to like make your own space. And so I feel like for me, that's where like it really struck a chord where I'm like, now I have to like talk to new people and try to make new connections. And that's freaking rough. Like it's hard.
Yeah, that pool scene was just like it like gave me PTSD, you know,
Yeah.
of like not necessarily like going to a pool party, but just like showing up somewhere where you
Not really
don't
knowing
know
anyone.
anyone.
And where you
like,
kind of know people don't want you to be there, like
Yeah,
deep
where
down
it's
on the
just like,
inside.
this is set up by my fucking parents.
Yeah.
And like I don't want to be here. They don't want me here. We don't know each other. How am I going to get through this fucking night? It was a gut punch, dude. Like that scene sucked.
Yeah, I actually had an end of 8th grade pool party that I went to that was like exactly that situation. So every time I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, bringing back all the trauma.
And
Yeah.
I love connecting with the other goofy kid who's like his little
Oh, what's
thing where
his name?
he's standing on the pool.
Gabe.
Gabe.
Gab.
He's
I meant
a
Gabe.
real one. Honestly, he reminds me a lot of what I imagine young Blake to be.
Gabe.
Just like very socially awkward, but at the same time, just able to like force himself into being
kinda
friends with you.
Cuts
yeah.
through it. And
Yeah.
It's just like, here's me.
I'm good. I've always been good with people. Like,
Yeah.
I was a weird.
Well, that's the
kid,
thing
but-
about Gabe is I think he's good with people
That's
as well.
true.
He
Yeah,
just
that's
doesn't
true.
give a shit, which is like, you know,
That's
cool.
yeah. That's really admirable. You know, at that point, it's just be like, I'm
I
just
had
gonna.
better taste than Rick and Morty at his age. I'll tell you that much.
Dude,
Okay,
if you had
sure.
Rick and Morty in 8th grade,
Yeah.
You would be
Yeah,
all
I
over
probably
that.
would. I
Yeah.
probably
It's like
would.
the smartest show ever.
I would be explaining it to my classmates.
No, you don't understand. There's so much more emotional complexity than what you're taking in.
What's
you know?
that? What's the copy pasta that you? Well, you know what? You actually need a really high IQ to
Yeah.
enjoy Rick and Morty.
But
if I had Rick
yeah.
and Morty in 8th grade, that would probably.
That would have been like your BoJack Horseman.
So Blake, well, you're saying that you were always so sociable and everything. So how did you connect to this movie?
I mean, I was a weird kid, so I guess maybe Gabe is like kind of actually the person I'd be the most connected to. But I don't know, even being like a social, you could still kind of like have that feeling of isolation. Being an introvert doesn't give you the power of like not feeling lonely. I mean, I'd say if anything, it was more like 6th grade because I think that was the big year where I was like, oh fuck, I don't know like anyone, you know?
Yeah.
I think going into high school, it's like the opposite of you. Going into middle school was harder than going into high school because I just knew more people that I had like aligned schedules with, luckily, going into high school. But I don't know. You still feel isolation as a social butterfly.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you think?
And also, this movie is like 90% awkward moments. I feel like pretty much everyone has made every mistake that she's made in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well, that's what I mean about it feeling realistic. It's like these aren't forced moments of like.
I mean, I
cringiness.
personally
It's like,
love cringe
this is-
humor. That's my favorite. I don't know. I don't think this is like the only movie that's done cringe humor well. I think it's good.
I mean, it definitely probably isn't, but at the same time, this is one of the few that I've found where I think it does it really
works.
well, and it works.
Yeah. So how do you guys think that, like, this film, I feel like it's one of those really, like, this is my first time watching this. I didn't mention that before, but like, I feel like I haven't seen a movie like really tackle like social media and technology as well as this one, or at least not like at this point. Like, it's 2018, where everything still feels like really new. Like, I remember getting like MySpace my freshman year, actually, and funny enough, I remember that was like a big thing. Like, everyone's like, you gotta like fucking like, you know, modify it. It's gotta be yours. It's gotta figure out how it's gonna.
Bro, MySpace was the shit, dude.
Dude, mine, I still have a very vivid memory of what mine was like. I had a Wolverine wallpaper. Okay.
What song were you playing?
I had a Sublime. I don't remember what Sublime song it was.
It was fucking Santeria. We all know.
Maybe. Oh, no. Actually, I think I remember at one point I changed it to Bob Marley. It was Stir It Up. It was
Really
like,
in a Rasta mood when you were
I
in high
guess.
school.
Yeah.
No, I mean, back in fifth grade,
Wolverine.
I didn't get MySpace until I was in high school either. But back in fifth grade, there was this takedown MySpace page that like some of the girls in my class had come up with and cooked up, and they were like saying like awful things about like a teacher who had cancer and like a bunch of other students and stuff like that. Well, you know who they blamed it on? The one person who didn't have a MySpace page.
You?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah, no, that almost like got pushed onto me like I was doing it. Finally, my mom was like, hey, he doesn't even have like access to like a computer with internet at night. Like how the hell is he supposed to do this? And then the teacher's like, oh, we're so sorry. We just like assumed because they were all the good kids that said this stuff. And yeah,
It's so wild because
it's crazy.
But yeah, it's like, again, I don't know. I think we were in school when social media was like just really starting to like emerge.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I like, by the time, like, I don't even remember Facebook really even being a thing.
That was like
Until,
my
like-
freshman year, but I'm like a year, 2
I
years.
think I
younger than
got
you?
I think
you're
I
like
got
2 years younger than me.
Facebook in like sophomore year of high school.
Yeah.
I got it my freshman.
I was also very behind on that. I don't think I even did that till like college, maybe. No. I would say like, maybe like my senior year at earliest.
Yeah.
Like,
do
it
you,
was.
do you guys want to know what my MySpace song was?
What?
Sure.
Animal I Have Become by 3 Days Grace.
You want to know what mine was?
What?
Actually, I don't remember the song, but I remember it was
It's a Tool?
No, I was a fucking emo kid. It was The Used.
Yeah.
What was it? Doesn't matter.
More on topic.
But
I will
MySpace was crazy.
Yeah. I think mine was either smoke weed every day or shut the fuck up. No, I'm serious. Or it was like Santeria by Sublime.
That's so funny.
So you guys remember Breaking Bad, right?
Yes.
Jesse
Yes.
Pinkman's MySpace page.
Yeah.
Mine was surprisingly similar to that. I watched that. I was like, did they just copy my MySpace page? It was pretty bad.
They
Yeah.
took yours from inspiration.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I think this movie does really well, and it's just a product of the time, is like we're talking about how it was when we had social media, but like really when I was doing MySpace, I was like online for maybe 45 minutes a night.
Yeah.
Here,
This is the digital generation.
everywhere. It's fucking everywhere, and everything is amplified. Man, if fucking I had Instagram and fucking
Snapchat and
Snapchat and all of that in 8th grade,
TikTok.
that'd be
TikTok wasn't
terrible,
this movie.
dude.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
would have
imagine.
fucking hated it.
I mean, the high schoolers even make fun of her for that, where they're like, "Oh, you had Snapchat in 5th grade?"
Yeah,
Like,
even they're talking about like how much it has changed, and they're in fucking high school. You know,
Well, it's
There's
true.
like a 3-4 year difference.
Yeah.
It's
I did-
ridiculous.
I did want to say a year prior, Ingrid Goes West came out, and that also really utilized like social media and all that stuff pretty well. I don't know if anyone here has seen it.
I have
but
not seen
No.
it. That's been on my watch
great
list,
movie.
but low down.
It's a great movie. And it's from 2017. Yeah, that also utilizes a lot of like this stuff and this kind of like internet culture properly.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay. So I will say I did like her speech that she gave about like what's the real you. when
Yeah.
she's standing up in front of the camera and she's like, well, people don't always know who the real is. You is. You've got the social media you've got the like real life you've got the you that does all these different things. And I feel like that's even more amplified now with this age of social media, where we had these disconnected friend groups, and especially for them, where it's like, hey, half your friends nowadays you might not have even met in person.
I mean, I think what I think it does so well is that it shows the idea of like there's this the facade that you have that you're projecting online that you're trying to show to everybody else. Like they say, it's like that's not the real you. It's just like the highlights at best, right? I think, and to an extent, there are people who try to like bring more like reality, right? But like, well, they post like crying vids or something like that, trying to be more like, I guess,
YouTuber apology videos.
yeah, exactly. but like I think there's something to it where it's like you see this girl who is trying to basically just catalog her life and her thoughts as she's going through it, and she's giving other people advice the kind that she wants to take because she's too scared to take it in real life. And I feel like that's just I don't know, it's just very interesting to me. It's like I think we all tend to project what we want to be, or the kind of people that we would pretend that we actually are, even though we may not actually be those people, So I think I think it really taps into that so well, and putting it into a middle school setting is like so fitting because, I think millennials have made it very popular where we're like, oh, we're all just adulting, right? But it's like, I think at heart, we really are still just a bunch of middle schoolers, it feels like. And it just like those insecurities and, unsureness about like yourself or however you're feeling or whoever you are. It's like that still can be so relevant even well into adulthood.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You guys want to talk about the parental relationships? Relationship with her dad.
The dad's great.
Yeah.
He's one of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah, he's
I mean,
from Jason's favorite movie.
Yeah, he's from Jason's favorite movie,
Pointed it
Kicking
out.
and
It's
Screaming. Grover.
Kicking and Screaming.
He's
the main
Grover.
character. He was great. He was probably my favorite character. He's probably who I related to the most. He
went to Prague.
Yeah, Josh Hamilton. Yeah, he had a kid and then she left him.
It feels like he's just very confused by what's going on with his daughter, but he just loves her so much that he's just like, okay, I'm along for the ride.
Yeah.
It was a very sweet relationship, but yeah, like he obviously doesn't understand the whole phone thing, the whole like constantly online thing. And what I love is that he trusts her, to do the right thing, even though there is that scene where he's stalking her at the mall.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I think
tough.
that's
It has to be hard to be a single father.
Yeah. And raising a girl who it's already hard enough to relate to as like a teenager, but then, doing it by yourself, it's like, I imagine that's incredibly difficult.
Well, and I think that he also knows how much she struggles, and he doesn't want to highlight that to her, that he knows that she's struggling, because he feels like that'll just hurt her more emotionally if he can see it, right?
Yeah. I mean, she brings that up in the end, right?
Or she asks him if she makes him sad.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the most touching scenes for me.
That's a great moment.
He's like, no, like never. Like, I mean, it makes me sad, when you're upset or whatever, but like, I'm so proud of you and everything. It's really tough because it's like, I think for any adult that we're trying to relate to a child is hard enough. Even if though we've been there, but you're not there anymore. And again, the landscape has changed so much already, right?
Yeah.
So it's
his 8th grade was completely different from hers.
This movie in
gotta be
general has a really good depiction of like the disconnect from like adults and kids, both in like in serious moments with her dad, but also in sillier moments, like when like the teacher dabs for some reason.
yeah.
But it is a running theme.
It's lit.
We're going to learn all about our changing bodies. It's going to be lit. But both in funny and serious, there's a lot of scenes that emphasize that disconnect where they're just, showing that adults don't really understand the children, and they can't, because they're not kids anymore.
Well, and even between her generation and the high schoolers, right?
Yeah.
Where like she's realizing that, hey, the way that she acts and the person that she is, she's able to get along with these older people who aren't all obsessed with their phones all the time, that can actually hold a conversation with each other, right? And even though she doesn't feel like she's able to participate, she's able to get along with them better, it feels like, than she is with her peers to a certain extent. And I feel like that's something that, I've felt in the past, where I got along better with older people all the time when I was growing up. They were just easier to relate to, easier to get along with. I don't know how you guys felt about that, but yeah.
No, I was often friends with teachers, like certain teachers that I liked, that I'd be like, hi, Miss, whatever. Be like, and I'd try to like, connect with them.
Teacher's pet.
Sometimes a little bit.
Me and Jason went to the same high school, but we're 4 years apart, meaning I was a freshman when he was a senior. I know more people from his class than he does.
Yeah. I had my friends and I really didn't talk to anyone else. That's how my high school experience went.
I know more people from his year.
No, okay, so now I kind of want to get into, again, the high school relationships and those scenes and everything. Because, yes, there is that social anxiety. Like, I remember in middle school, like, my sister was 7 years older than me, so she was already, like, graduated high school and everything by the time I was approaching. So just the idea of, like, high school kids were, like, they might as well have been in, like, their 40s. Like, it felt so distant, just being like, oh, my gosh, dude, like, they're so big. Like, you know what I mean? But I think it also goes into, like, that one scene, the car scene, which was so
very
rough
tense
and extremely tense, and it kind of, I feel like it's such an important scene to that just kind of shows like the vulnerability of being like, it's like there's so many different like mental, physical, whatever vulnerabilities that come with being somebody who seemingly has like that power over you, and like, nothing happens exactly, but like so much is happening, and it's like, it's terrifying. And this poor girl.
Yeah. And I think the main point from that is that when she came to this point where she said, do I fit in by doing what's expected? And, by doing, this stuff that, hey, like, because it was brought up earlier in the film, which led to the banana thing as well.
Oh, yeah.
Where, that's a question that she has. And do I, do these things to fit in that I don't want to do? Mm-hmm. Or do I stay true to myself? Mm-hmm. And she really makes the decision that, no, I'm going to stay true to who I am.
Yeah.
And I really respect her for that. Also, the guy was creepy as shit.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
that.
huge piece of shit.
He was pressuring her like crazy,
and he was like,
he was being like, he was like a fucking super villain in that moment. Like, it was not cool. But also, like, she's still like, even through that whole scene, she's still like putting on this like facade, or she wants to be accepted by him, right?
Yeah.
Even when she screams no, and then she says, I'm sorry. Like, like, she doesn't want him to be mad at her because he's older and he's cool, Yeah. And it's just
it's a rough scene.
It's heartbreaking, because it's like, it's one of those things that I think can be so hard to explain to like someone who hasn't been in a situation like that or hasn't seen something like that happen, where it's like, again, like nothing like technically happens, but still it's like it traumatizes her for like at least a while, and it takes her a while to get over it and everything. And it's like, that's just, it's, I don't know, it's scary. It's like the being taken advantage of and everything. It's like, it's a tough thing to explain. I feel like that's
like, the saddest part of it really, I feel, is like the one line where she's like, hey, don't tell Hannah. Was it Hannah? Olivia?
Yeah.
Don't tell Olivia. Like, he has, basically acted like a complete pervert towards her.
Yeah.
And she's worried about the perception that her friend Olivia will be.
And he was probably like, thank God.
Because she turned him down. And it's like, And that just shows like how fucked up our society is. Where it's like, you know, she just wants to hide this away.
Yeah, and the guy was probably like jackpot when she said that, like, you know, because I imagine he doesn't want that getting out. Yeah, what a piece of shit. He says like it's almost funny how bad it is when he's like, I was just trying to like be nice to you and like show you how.
And then he like tries to blame her and says like, now your first time's gonna be at a party and you're gonna suck, and it's just like, fuck you, man.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Real piece of shit.
Okay, so I think that sequence I think is another great example of like Bo Burnham's like directing style, where we've been talking about it, where it's like this whole movie's very tense, and there's a certain way that he shoots it where the camera is like always really close to her or around her. You only really kind of see what she's seeing.
It's almost always at her eye level.
Yeah. So how do you guys think that like Bo's like approach, I think, to like the way that he shot this, like really
Definitely
adds
gives
to
it that more visceral feeling, like you're there, right? It's always good to kind of put you in the head of the character, especially for a more tense scene like this.
Yeah. Like I think other than like maybe some of the editing and music, like everything just feels very stripped down, very realistic, and like just kind of very raw. How they're like moving through, like again, like that pool party scene, like it is amplified a bit, but it also really just feels like you're walking into a pool party. But because you're in her shoes, it feels so much more tense and like scary.
Whenever something like is emotionally affecting her, that music comes in and it's fucking blaring and loud, and it's just like that's what it feels like to have that sort of like social anxiety, just like not like. There's nothing else going on. It's just loud noises in your head screaming.
Yeah.
It's very well represented, I guess.
Yeah. And I think that the way that he uses the camera, it works primarily because she is such a good actor. And she is so good at showing emotion on her face and showing the anxiety, right? In her facial expressions. I think without that, all the close-up shots, they wouldn't be as meaningful, but you can see in her eyes and just in the very subtle way that she adjusts, like, her smile and things like that.
She was acting.
But I mean, there's acting, and then there's a very amazing performance like she put on, where you could feel the anxiety from her.
Yes, she does a very good job.
And I got to point that out, that's why I think that the camera work did work so well.
Yeah, no, I think there's even like there's a couple scenes where she's in the room and she's just kind of sitting in the darkness with the phone lighting her face, and I think it's a scene that we've seen so many times, like in a million different things now. But in this context, it really, I think, kind of captures like the isolation. Like she's just like in this little dark space, just trying to kind of connect to people, like, commenting and liking and whatever. And sometimes that's like there's people I haven't spoken to in like fucking months or even longer. But like I just communicate only through social media, just like shoot them a meme or like or whatever. Be like, hey, good, whatever. Just to kind of acknowledge in some way that like I'm here, just saying hello, but that's like as far as you're willing to go, I guess. So yeah, how about
Sorry about that. That was my cat.
Miles' cats are going wild right now.
They're hungry. They do this all the
How do you
time.
starve your cats?
I don't know. Why do we always record right at their dinner time?
Yeah, it's the cat right now. He's cooking a 4-course meal.
Yeah.
He's pulling out all the
He's
pots and
going away.
pans. Yeah, he's chopping.
He's screaming, I need hands.
Hands.
If
Somebody
only
give
I
me
wasn't
hands.
cursed by these claws. So do you guys have any like defining moments? I guess we've already kind of
We kind of talked
Spoke
about all
out
the
a
big
lot of them.
ones.
Are there any others, though, that you guys want to mention?
I just want to point out one little visual gag that I thought was hilarious. I don't even know when it happened in the movie, but like, it's a reaction shot from the girl who had the pool party. What's her name?
I don't know.
But like, I don't know. But the camera shoots over to her, and she just has this dumb look on her face, and she has her phone in her hand, and she's like not even looking at her phone, but her thumb's just still scrolling. And like, it's just like there's so many like little moments like that. It's just like I don't know. It's just really funny if you catch all of them.
Yeah, and then her friend's like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like little moments like when she decides to like tell off the bullies.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I feel like, again, that's a scene that we've seen of like where the person's like,
It's
I'm
very
standing up for
awkward
myself.
and like
Yeah, but it's incredibly awkward.
she's not even like looking them in the eyes.
She just kind of, they don't get any kind of reaction or anything from her, or they don't give really much of a reaction. She just walks away and it's like,
Like
huh.
halfway through a sentence too. Like
Yeah.
she's not even like finished saying what she's saying. She just like stops and just walks away immediately.
Like,
And it's
okay,
like, what?
I think I'm good.
Yeah.
And just leaves. And just saying it, that was enough. That's all she needed. And even that felt very realistic in a sense where it's like, you know, you don't get like a dramatic speech from anybody you're returning, like, oh, you've changed my ways.
like the whole school didn't turn to them and a spotlight didn't like
Yeah.
end up on her.
Yeah, that's when everyone applauded, you know.
And those girls ended up being Albert Einstein.
Yeah. It wasn't like in front of the school. She gave like a rousing speech, you know, she just kind of told him off, and that's because what she needed to say and get off her chest, and just, ugh, and then just she can return to her life and kind of, you know, go back.
They stole the gift scene from Breaking Bad.
Yeah. What?
The scene where they where like she's getting her gifts or whatever, and they're all like, you know, I don't know, expensive bougie shit, and then like she gets her like the game that's like Go Fish but better.
Yeah.
I don't know, Bo Burnham, I'm on to you. Don't you remember from Breaking Bad? It's like the third episode when he goes to his old colleague's birthday party.
Oh, yes.
And like like literally he's like opening like a guitar that was signed by like Elvis or some shit.
Yeah.
And then it gets to Walt's gift and it's like a pack of like instant ramen or some shit.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, it was an inside joke is the thing. You know, like
Everyone's like turning to Walt, being like, what the fuck? I see you, Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Any other like closing themes, anything?
That's a
else?
great. I like the
guess, like-
ending sequence a
Yeah,
lot.
I was about to mention that too. Yeah.
Oh,
When she makes her final
Gabe.
video.
yes.
Oh, I was talking about the video.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I was talking about the present
The present.
for herself for the future.
Oh, where
Yeah.
she makes like
Her
the
time
Yeah,
capsule.
where she
box
makes
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. No, it's
What's in there?
What's in
My
the
hopes and
box?
dreams.
Just my hopes and dreams.
Like that was so sad.
And you're
yeah.
burning them.
Well, I was gonna say, I think the scene with Gabe and they're like sitting talking at the table. That's probably my favorite scene from the movie.
I like when he's
think.
trying to brag about his archery thing.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah,
I just
this
love this.
Not a big
Yeah.
deal. Just left it there. It's stupid.
got 5 bullseyes, whatever. You know, It's just
I like all the sauces equally. It's fine. He's great.
Man of culture.
yeah. I like even the way that he's like talking with his arms and like his hands a lot, just like
A lot of great kid performances in this.
yeah, yeah.
Well, and I think that it makes me kind of happy that she did find somebody who
Yeah.
is a genuine nice person who
Yeah.
a little bit quirky and weird, just like she is. So it's, you know, it feels like he's really like her first, you know, real friend
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's her age.
And
I
they're
guess.
friends. They're not
Yeah.
like she's not like, oh, I'm in a relationship, this is my boyfriend or anything.
No.
It's like, no, she just has a friend,
Yeah.
someone else that she can relate to. Because that was really the whole goal of the film, and she achieves it, and that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, somebody she can talk to so that she's not honestly sorry, I keep on going back.
No.
That was also such an emotional scene where they're like and most quiet and you see her just like barely
Oh, yeah.
tearing up and you're like, dude, like, oh, that hurts so much.
Why is
because,
that a
like,
fucking
Yeah.
category?
What kind of award is that?
Terrible.
Yeah, and you can see that it like hurts her because she tries so
She
hard
doesn't
to
want-
not be
yeah.
that person.
Mm-hmm.
But she just, you know, fails constantly at it. Yeah.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like most of the time at school, I was fairly quiet in class, unless like I found that person that like I could, like I clicked with or whatever that I could talk to. Then I'm like, oh, then I like I wouldn't shut up. Like that was like that was my biggest thing. I was like either completely silence or talking nonstop. So I feel like I somewhere in that category. I don't know.
I wonder if we would have been friends in high school, Ron.
I think so.
Probably.
Yeah, I feel like that would have worked out. I was,
You said that like as a business proposition. I think it would have worked out. My
well, we'll
numbers add
see
up.
what we could have done at the time. You know, there may be some, you know, acquisitions and, you know, some movement that might have needed to be made, but we could have figured it out.
I don't know. I was pretty quiet in class until I got bored with the teacher moving too slow, and then I would just
Start teaching the class.
No, I would start answering all of his questions or her questions right away, and just like not even give anybody a chance. I would just like constantly do it, just like, hey, move this shit along. Like,
Oh, dude,
we
my
get
thing,
it.
like, because I had pretty bad ADD, so like I would just start doodling,
Yeah.
and that was a huge problem for me, especially in middle school. In high school, I had this like teacher, like a teacher's assistant, who like really broke me of that habit. That was a whole thing. But like before then, my middle school notebooks were just covered, like all the inside like linings and everything were just covered with all kinds of doodles like that. Just couldn't stop. Just because like it was so hard for me to focus, and then my brain would just drift, and I'd be like, I'm just gonna draw an Eminem man fighting an army of goblins or something. Like it was just like that was rough. So yeah, I didn't do great in school.
Me neither. It's all good.
Yeah, neither did
I was not academically great.
Okay, so any final thoughts? Anything you guys want to?
It's a great movie. I think if the premise generally intrigues you, you should check it out. I really liked it when it first came out, and it's been, 7 years? 7 years?
It's 2018, so
See, as you can see, we're not that good at we weren't paying attention.
let's see, 18 minus 20. Yeah, no, it's a great movie.
And it still holds up. I still really enjoy it. I own it on Blu-ray, so that's saying something.
Wow. Yeah, no, it's my first time watching it. I really did like it.
Didn't I recommend it to you like a shit ton of times back in the day?
I'm sure everybody's. I feel like I've heard this movie talked about a lot, but I will say, leading up to this movie, I had no real interest in watching it just because I had some other shit going on, and I was so just like tired, and I was like, oh god, okay, let me just watch this.
You were
movie.
like, God damn it, another Miles recommendation.
No,
It's gonna be
no.
awful.
It was just like I just wanted to watch like anything. I just wanted to put on like fucking, I don't know, just something else, just completely different. And then I'm just like, okay, but no, I gotta watch this. Let me watch it. And then I was so charmed by it, and I really enjoyed it a lot. It won me over. The movie, shouldn't have to do that, but it did, and it was great. So I enjoyed it a lot. It's probably one of my favorite coming of age movies now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love this movie. I think it's great, and I think, I don't think it's a movie that everyone should see, but I think a lot of people could get something out of it. It's just so relatable, and I don't know. I feel like it puts you back into that time frame that I feel like we're all so removed from. And I think it's good to go back there sometimes and go through some of those emotions that you felt.
Reconnect with your roots.
Yeah. So I say, yeah, it's definitely worth the watch. I think everyone can get something out of it.
Yeah, it's I watched this one time before with Blake when he first showed it to me. I did not want to watch it because of the aforementioned hatred towards Bo Burnham. But I watched it. I got through it. I was like, dang, that's a really good movie. And it's one of those movies where it's stuck in my mind. A lot of movies are forgettable. This one's not forgettable. You remember the emotional impact of this movie. And just rewatching it a second time definitely holds up. Great movie. Only complaint is the Blu-ray case is the worst quality Blu-ray case in existence.
I don't know if that's about the movie.
Well,
How about it, Bo? Step up.
I got
Quality control, my man.
I got to be judgmental about my physical media collection. That's all I'm saying.
I did want to say one other thing, just because I guess when are we going to talk about this again? I also was tomorrow. I was also very surprised because I saw this in theaters, and I remember being like surprised by it because I don't know. I don't think I picked the movie. And we're gonna go see it, and I was like, oh, 8th grade. And I was gonna be like a stupid comedy or something, and I was like, oh, this is like really good. So,
I thought there was gonna be more.
Yeah.
and that's the beginning of a really long story that I'll start now.
Okay. Let's hear it. Come on.
It was the best of
We're listening.
times. It was
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
The blurst of times.
The blurst. You guys want to talk about what we've been watching? Unless anybody else
Sure.
has
Yeah.
thoughts.
Good.
Well, me and Jason have been watching Daredevil.
Born Again?
That's
Born Again?
the
Born
one
Again
with
Christian?
the blind
Born
liar,
New.
the blind
Original
lawyer,
Sin.
right?
This one where he's a
The
Baptist.
Daredevil
now, right?
Original Sin. Daredevil Resurrection.
Born Again Christian.
Daredevil, the Trinity spinoff. It sucks. It's bad. Okay, maybe
I
Jason-
don't think it sucks. I think it's okay. It's a far cry from like what I felt when I first started watching that show, or the original series, because
Okay.
that show hooked me immediately, and this one's like, I don't know.
Maybe saying it sucks is a little harsh. The first episode sucks for sure.
Yes.
Episode 1 is very bad. It's a very bad episode of television.
It's a whole season of television, is what it is.
That was. Do we care about minor spoilers for this?
It is pretty new. I'd feel a little bad spoiling it, to be
Okay,
honest.
it does, but it without spoilers. Then, but yes, it does feel like they set something up. Okay, oh, that's been resolved. They set something up. Okay, that's been resolved. Yeah, like Jason's not wrong. The first episode feels like it could have been the template for an entire season of TV. And I was just like, they kept resolving things. I'm like, what the fuck is the season going to be about? Like, I don't know.
So do you think that's partially because he's like one of the heaviest crossover characters in the MCU? It seems like in all like the TV shows, he gets crossed over.
Yeah,
bunch.
well,
I
that's
think he
just
only
been a
showed up in
recent
She-Hulk,
thing.
though, right?
He showed up in She-Hulk.
Spider-Man.
Well,
He
he's
didn't
in
show-
a,
oh,
he's
yeah,
in
he
a
wa-
movie.
Kind of. I mean, he has like a
Like he was
cameo.
in Spider-Man for like fucking 30
2
seconds.
seconds.
Like it's not like he was like getting suited up and fighting with Spider-Man.
I don't know. I don't watch this stuff, but I for some reason I just had like this what do you call it? This like perception that he was like in every single Marvel
I think
show.
that all that was marketing for this,
Okay.
because he would
Basically.
show up and do like a bit part here and there.
Yeah.
It does feel like it's the same problem. I haven't watched it, but it sounds like the same thing for pretty much all the other Marvel TV shows, Disney Plus shows, except for Loki. Personally, Loki was the only one where I was like, oh, this show stayed good throughout.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But all the other ones had the same issue where it's like they weren't bad. I don't know. I didn't watch She-Hulk, but I hear it's really bad. But the ones that I saw were like, they're like, oh, these are good or to fine. And like, that's pretty much it, which kind of sucks. Cause I was hoping that like Daredevil would like come back and be like, yeah, remember this? Like,
Yeah.
boom, show. This is why you were excited about these shows.
I will say it does get better each episode.
Yes, I want
But-
to withhold my full judgment until the season is over. But yeah, there's nothing in it that like really like got me going like fuck yeah, you know, which sucks.
I just think it's a bizarre. It's been a lot of bizarre choices. And it's like the only thing I really give a shit about. Like, who the fuck cares about Marvel anymore? Like, what else is coming out?
Fantastic Four.
Oh, it'll probably be okay, I guess.
That's the only really thing I'm looking forward to at this point, really. Right now, anyways. But whatever. That's the whole other thing.
But yeah, just a weak start. But yeah, my other friend who's a big Daredevil fan keeps saying, "Let it cook." So I guess we will.
Someone likes it.
No, I don't think that. No, I think they don't like it. They're just saying, but we're only 3 episodes in
Okay. All right.
yeah.
I think the new one comes out
tomorrow. Oh, today. Yeah.
I've been watching. So last week, me and Rozie decided to do a M. Night Shyamalan-a-thon.
Why?
No, for no real
Did
reason.
you watch Old?
No.
Calcium.
So we just watched. We wanted to stick to the classic era of the Shyamalan. So we did Sixth Sense.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No,
Unbreakable?
We did Sixth Sense, Unbreakable,
I like Unbreakable.
Signs, and The Village. So we watched those 4, and
No Lady in the Water.
I will go to bat. I'll defend all 4 of those. It's I think it's funny because like watching the progression, you can kind of see where like this is where people started to like kind of wane a bit. I think by Signs, some people were like really split people, and then like by The Village, I remember when The Village came out, people were like, "Oh, this dude sucks," or all he knows is like twists. And I remember liking it. I was like,
I remember hating it, but I kind of want to rewatch it.
The twist in The Village is like the worst part of the movie.
see, so that's what I'm saying. But like, I think that it's one of those where it's like the twist, it takes away a lot, but because if like that's what you focus on, then that's not great. But I think there's still enough going around. I think it's definitely the weakest of those four, but visually it's pretty damn good. I mean, it's DP'd by Roger Deakins. He knows what he's doing. It's very like it's one of his best looking movies, I think, just at least like color and visually. But like story wise, it's definitely one of the weaker ones. But I don't know. I just miss watching Shyamalan movies, and like rewatching Unbreakable. I was like, damn, this is great.
Did you watch Trap?
No,
I still haven't. I kind of want to watch.
I kind of want to continue this eventually. Like the next one we're gonna do is Lady in the Water, which is the chronological.
I've actually
one.
never seen that.
I hated
I've heard
that
it's
one.
bad.
I watched it when it came out when I was young, and I remember that was the first time that I watched his movies, and I was like, that was fucking awful. I was like, that was such a bad movie. But I am curious to revisit it. Yeah, like I feel like now maybe I'll be like, I appreciate this more or something.
The Happening, a completely superfluous bottle of cough
Yeah,
syrup.
I don't think anything's changing my opinion about The Happening, because that one's pretty bad. I feel like I've rewatched that one more recently, but no, I've not watched Lady of the Water since it came out, so I'm curious to revisit that.
Maybe you'll love it. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe I'll be like, guys, Lady in the Water is actually his best movie. That'd be hilarious, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I have watched very few Shyamalan films. I have liked none of them.
Dude, do you ever see Unbreakable?
That's a
No,
good
I
movie.
haven't.
I don't think Miles.
You seen
would like
Signs?
Unbreakable.
Nope.
No, maybe not.
I haven't seen The Village either. I've seen, let's see, Old,
Sixth Sense?
Split, and
I like Split.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I think
is great.
Split's good. I just think it's a little overrated.
I think that, I don't know. I couldn't get into it. I was like, this is boring.
That's the thing too, is like rewatching his movies. I'm like, yeah, his characters always talked weird. Like, we're watching it at one point. Rozie was like, people don't talk like that, and I'm like, no, they don't. But in his movies, they do, and the tone stays consistent enough that it can make it work. At least in his early movies.
What's it in Old? The kid walks up to like every adult. What's your name and profession?
Yeah, it's like there's a certain point where I think he kind of went off the rails a bit, and it's like, I don't know. I commend Shyamalan for just like never giving up. That dude just refuses to go away.
Well, they keep on throwing money at him. What do you expect?
No, they don't.
dude.
They don't. He
Dude.
puts his own money into all his
Really?
projects.
Yeah, after like Avatar, like he was dead. Like nobody like wanted anything to do with him. But he
produces
grinded.
most of his own stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't
like,
realize
he put his
that.
own money. Like he did. Was it
Old.
The Visit?
The
was like his-
Visit.
yeah.
I like that movie too.
And it kind of gave everyone was like, oh, okay, like this dude still got something in the tank, and then he kept coming back. And I don't know, like I find that very commendable, because I think a lot of filmmakers or people tend to, if they get shit on, they're just like, oh, I guess I'm done. Like I don't know, they go away. But he refuses to. In his movies are always entertaining. That's for certain.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
All his movies are entertaining.
Yeah.
Whether they're bad or not is different. But
The
yeah.
Visit, the Old People movie, the first Old People movie.
They're memorable too, because it's like so odd, like especially when they're bad. It's like, what is happening? I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. That's what I've been up to. What about you, Miles?
So let's see. I watched season 19 of American Dad because that got put on Hulu finally.
Was Tim Allen in that one or something?
No.
Just making a joke about how for a while it seemed like that was the
You're a
only
big
thing
Tim
you were
Allen
watching.
guy.
And, that was the only thing that was on TV. Tim Allen's not an American Dad. It's Seth MacFarlane. It's a funny show, and personally, I think it's better than Family Guy.
Season
I think
19?
it's better than.
Damn.
I think it's better than The Simpsons, at least modern Simpsons. I'm not talking about old Simpsons. I'm talking about
like a fucking-
modern Simpsons.
This may be the last you hear of Miles.
Oh, hey, Ron, you will admit that they have gone downhill.
Yes, no, absolutely. But like broader strokes, Simpsons,
Yeah.
peak Simpsons.
I'm talking about
no
modern Simpsons. I'm not
Yeah,
talking
it's probably
about old
fine.
school.
I don't know. I haven't even really watched modern Simpsons in like 10 years at least. So.
But as far as like mainstream, like Fox adult animation, I think it's the funniest. Yeah.
Bro, I haven't watched a new season of that in like 10 years, probably.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I think the last like new episode I watched for them was like the Christmas special one where they fight off Santa.
Which one?
That's like most of them.
That's like every Christmas special.
I think it was the first one. They're like in a cabin up like in
Oh
the
yeah,
woods.
yeah. That's actually like 15 years ago.
Holy
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's the last one I watched then.
I think
Yeah.
the last time I watched it was like in 2015. So yeah, it's been like 10 years.
Dang.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it was still going on.
I know.
to
I
be
didn't know it was still
honest.
going either.
I thought that it ended.
I thought they
I've
just
never
moved
watched
on to-
American Dad.
The first few seasons were pretty funny.
Honestly, I think it's maintained its hilarity, and I think it might have even gotten better recently.
Oh.
It found
I
its own
did-
voice. It wasn't just cookie cutter copy from
It never was. I thought
Family Guy. I mean,
early
but they
American
reused a
Dad-
lot of jokes from Family Guy.
the problem, and I think the problem with American Dad was that like the first few seasons you can still rewatch them, but you really like had to be like a millennial or older to like even get a millennial or older to even get it, because it's so like time era specific comedy. Because it was basically like made to like.
Well, it's the same with Family Guy, right? Like all the like pop culture references.
but
and-
specifically, American Dad was like literally written to make fun of like the Bush administration. So a lot of
Oh,
like
yeah.
the early
Yeah.
seasons are very, very topical.
time, yeah.
They're very topical. They're very of the time. So like you could still kind of go back and laugh at them, but you had to like remember that era.
Yeah.
So I think the problem with that show is that it never really grew out. Once it grew out of that, it never really knew what it wanted to be.
Yeah, because
thought.
it really started out as guns versus hippies in a waspy suburbia.
I want
I mean, that's,
I want Seth MacFarlane to stop doing all the animation shit and just make
Oh,
the
yeah.
Orville.
I mean, I think
Do the
he's-
Orville. That's your best thing. Please do more of that.
I think he really tapped out of like all the animation stuff like a while ago.
Yeah.
He seems like that's why
I feel like
think he
they
went on
send
to-
him lines and he like records them in his
Yeah.
car as he's driving.
I think
Not even in his house, in his car.
he's just like you hear the sync running and one.
honestly, though, with all the lines that he has done over the years for these different characters,
they could probably just use AI. Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't actually record lines anymore.
No, it's funny you bring up American Dad though, because I like on the Lovecraft subreddit, someone mentioned that there's like a great American Dad episode that's like Lovecraftian, and it's called Rabbit Ears, which I haven't seen, but I took a note of it because like I do remember some like really good highlight episodes of American Dad, so I was like I might actually look that up just to watch that episode. So
Yeah. Oh, Rabbit Ears. I think that's the one about the TV. Oh, very good episode. You should watch that. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll look into it.
And then I also watched the first 40 minutes of Dinner in America, which I just couldn't get into.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, like I wanted to like it. I was like, oh, this is a weird, cool, quirky film, but
Dinner in America.
I love that movie personally.
I know I should watch it, but one of our friends like really wants me to watch it, and
Which
I just
one?
think it's funny that I don't. Sam.
oh,
That's a great
God,
movie.
he's gonna judge me so hard now.
I've heard
Oh yeah,
someone
he
have
loves
a,
this movie.
yeah.
I've heard someone have a hypothesis that every movie that has America or American in it is like a great movie. I don't know, American Psycho, Once Upon a Time in America.
I mean,
American
American
Graffiti.
Wedding was pretty shit.
Yeah.
That's true.
American Graffiti,
American Graffiti.
That's a good movie. I like that movie.
I mean, American Pie is great.
better than Star Wars.
American. Fuck. What's the one that I hate? That's not always true. There's bad American something movies.
Captain America.
Captain America. Not that
Coming
good.
to America. Yeah, there's great ones out there.
American-
The first one or the second one?
Coming to America, the first one.
All right. Does anybody have anything else?
No,
No.
America
we're just
Ferrera,
reading IMDb titles now.
America Olivio. These are just actors with America.
America Ferrera.
I love America Ferrera.
No, she's great.
Ugly Betty was great. You should all watch it.
I honestly want to watch more of that. You and Shy have hooked me.
Yeah.
It's a good show, dude.
for
It's
for
like,
you viewers out there, you have no idea how much of a fan of Ugly Betty Blake is. It's
Oh, I am.
insane.
Oh yeah, I am. I love Ugly Betty. It's a great show.
American Gods.
American Gods. That's the book's
Uh,
good.
Honestly,
Yeah, Neil
the
Gaiman.
show is pretty
Fuck
bad.
you, Neil
Yeah.
Gaiman.
he's a
Jesus
bad
Christ,
guy.
dude. I was behind on that shit. I was sorry not to start up a whole conversation, but
Yeah.
I was like, I remember seeing someone who like, oh, and I was like, why? What happened? Oh my god, like this is an insane rabbit
It's
hole.
always awful when someone like drops something like that on you about someone that you like.
I did that
liked
to you
their art.
once.
You did, yeah. Jesse Lacey,
I
brand
ruined your
new.
life.
I thought you were fucking with me.
Yeah, just like how Blake likes to say that Bill Nye's a jerk or something.
Look, all I'm
From
saying
what I've
is
heard, he is a jerk.
I had a teacher who worked in the industry, and he said Bill Nye
What was his name? No, I'm just kidding.
was not a nice guy. And I have heard that from other people. So
He never claimed to be a nice guy.
You know,
he was
if
just
Bill-
a science
if-
guy.
Exactly.
if science is about getting results, if Bill Nye wants to come on the podcast and defend himself, he's more than
Clear your
welcome.
name, Bill.
If you want to clear your name on the podcast, Bill, we'll have you.
Yeah, and we're talking about the science guy, not the British actor.
They even make
Yeah. Not Davy Jones. Bill Nye, the science guy.
no, they even make fun of him in Stargate. Like he's featured on an episode with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and
Yeah.
they're just making fun of him for being such an asshole. Like it's a thing.
Well, that's
I've
funny
heard-
that
I've
he's
heard he's
leaning
a
into it, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Anyways,
let's
what
wrap
are we
this
watching
up.
next week?
Yeah, what are
me,
we
right?
watching?
Whose pick is it?
Me.
Oh, Blake gets to choose. Oh no.
Fuck.
You guys ready to be depressed?
Oh god.
I'm just kidding. Although I did almost pick a very depressing movie. I came this close,
What
but
were you almost gonna pick?
The Iron Claw. I came
Oh
very
my
close.
god.
I would have wanted to watch that.
That's a great fucking movie.
I know. I didn't even watch it, but I already know that it's very depressing. So
I'm not gonna lie. This is one of the harder weeks to pick something because I just had a lot. I have a lot of movies I really want to watch. I almost changed it to something to match the tone of 8th grade, but I'm sticking to my guns. I'm picking this movie because I haven't seen it in like 10 years, and I really liked it. And I don't know if it'll hold up for me, but I really liked it. Mr. Nobody.
Okay.
Oh,
Interesting. I feel the same way.
Is
I don't
that the
know
one-
if that movie's gonna hold up.
I don't know if I'm gonna love it because when I
Jared
first,
Leto.
Blake's been trying to get me to
okay.
watch this movie since it came out. So like,
It's it's not the one with the guy from Breaking Bad.
no,
That's nobody.
Okay.
Yeah,
no, Mr.
This
Nobody.
is Mr. Nobody.
it's a Canadian film.
He's very,
I don't know because I saw this as like a 19-year-old and it blew my mind. I thought it was like the best movie I'd ever seen. I expect that I won't feel as good about it, but who knows? I'm excited to give it a rewatch. I quite enjoyed it the first time I saw it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I saw it around the same time in my life when I was like 19, and I was just like, holy shit.
It's definitely a good movie if you're like just getting into like more artsy stuff because it is a very like artsy movie. I'm excited. Mr. Nobody, watch it so we can discuss it for you.
Okay, cool. I finally get to watch this movie. I think since long as we've known each other, you've been like, have you seen Mr. Nobody?
It's a great movie.
No.
I have never seen this movie. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool.
Possibly.
Yeah, Jared Leto. I hear he's a great guy too.
You know, the last thing that I saw that he was in, he was not half bad of an actor.
Last thing I
Panic
saw
Room.
him in, he got
Panic
shot in
Room.
the head.
All right. We will see you the week after next.
Bye.
Bye.
Now you have to watch Mr. Nobody.